Germany's chancellor is off to China this weekend on a 3-day visit that promises to be something of a tightrope act. As ever, Olaf Scholz will be accompanied by a posse of German business leaders, reflecting the fact that his country's investment in China is at record levels, despite a looming trade row between China and the European Union over subsidies. Mr. Scholz is also expected to press Beijing not to support Russia in its war against Ukraine.
Does China hold the key to the outcome of Russia's war against Ukraine? As German Chancellor Olaf Scholz heads on his second visit to Beijing, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov was already there, both on a mission to seek China's support over Ukraine.
Our wish certainly would be that China uses the influence it has on Russia.
On his last visit in late 2022, Scholz claimed a diplomatic win, getting Xi to publicly push back on Russian President Vladimir Putin's nuclear threats. Now Putin has returned to speaking of nuclear war, raising the question, can Scholz get Xi to speak out again? Since that last visit, Germany has declared de-risking a cornerstone of its new China strategy, a mantra of the EU, which is talking tough on fairer trade.
In Europe, we have a very clear principle for dealing with China: de-risk, not decouple. Talking to China clearly and openly is the right approach.
But German companies don't seem to be listening. Instead, they've been investing more in China than ever before, a record 11.9 billion euros in 2023 alone. Chinese President Xi sees the concept of de-risking as a threat to his country's development, warning Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte of confrontation over attempts to limit China's access to the highest level chip technologies. A tense backdrop to Scholz's visit. Its success will largely be measured by what he can achieve on Ukraine. Scholz also knows that any Chinese support in reining in Russia wouldn't come for free.
Let's get more from DW political correspondent Simon Young. Welcome, Simon. So what influence does Germany have on China when it comes to Beijing's backing for Russia in the Ukraine war?
Well, Phil, I think if you're talking about influence, you have to see Germany. China is important for Germany. I think it's a bit more true than the other way around. And last year, Germany came up with its new China strategy, talking about a sort of tougher approach, talking about de-risking, that's to say having a lever to use if Berlin feels that it doesn't approve of something China has done or might do. But Olaf Scholz, I think, is inclined to also see the point that German-Chinese trade is really important for jobs here and for the German economy as a whole. So, you know, it's a tightrope walk for him. When it comes to Ukraine, Scholz says, well, he was going to ask the Chinese authorities to sort of act as a mediator in the Ukraine war. Well, that's going to be difficult because, you know, China has been supporting Russia's economy. And so I think when, German officials talk about China's loss of reputation because it's aligned with Moscow, that it may be difficult to really persuade them to change course. They may listen to Berlin, but influence is difficult.
Let's talk a little more about this German tightrope walk, because we have the government in Berlin saying it wants to de-risk its economic relationship with China, while at the same time seeing record levels of German business investment there. To lots of people, that seems somehow odd.
Well, yeah, what does de-risking mean? It means reducing exposure, in particular, to political risks. But that is difficult to do, again, as I said, because there's such a close relationship between these two economies. And at the moment, the German economy is weak. So, China remains Germany's largest international trading partner, and it produces cheap products for the German market. German businesses think they can still compete on quality, and that's why they're continuing to invest in China. In fact, of course, we're really talking about just a few big German companies. It's the chemicals giant BASF, it's the engineering giant Siemens, and the car makers. They're all thinking about their relationship with China. In fact, for them, de-risking may in fact mean moving some production into China rather than pulling out. But smaller, medium-sized German businesses, I think, have already changed their approach and have already pulled some production away from China.
And a quick word about another contentious issue with China, that of Taiwan. Where is Germany on that issue?
Well, Germany's got friendly relations with Taiwan, and it has stepped up things like cooperation in civil society and legal cooperation. A German government minister visited Taiwan last year for the first time in 26 years, and there's a lot of good words around it. But when it comes to the relationship between Taiwan and Beijing, Germany is a lot vaguer. It says, stability across the Taiwan Strait is important for the global economy, for the European economy, particularly, of course, because of the role of Taiwan in semiconductor production. But, again, the concerns from Berlin on this issue are likely to be heard in Beijing, but I doubt they'll be very much taken to heart or make much of a difference.
OK, thanks for that, Simon. DW political correspondent Simon Young.